Hey, Carm Capriato here with episode 434. Now, I know you appreciate when I get to converse with automotive instructors and technicians so we can learn from their insights about daytime training, ASE certification, automotive schools, and student education. Now, if you're an aftermarket professional, this is the stuff you need to hear. Now, here's a taste.
Even with students, when we've had night classes in the past, we found that the day students typically do better.
Yeah, they do. I'll have to agree with that. My daytime students have an easier time passing tests.
Welcome, aftermarketers, to Remarkable Results Radio. Listen to learn just one thing from today's episode on your journey to remarkable results. Hey, Carm here, and Remarkable Results Radio is proud to partner with Apex. Now, even in this technology-driven world, nothing beats the face-to-face meetings I've had at Apex. You will value what you learn at Apex, guaranteed. Now, plan now to attend November 5th through the 7th at the Sands Expo in Las Vegas. Now, if you earn your living in the aftermarket, Apex is for you. Biggest of its kind. For information, visit aapexshow.com. Registration is open. I'll see you there. Hey, remember why you're engaged with the Aftermarket's premier podcast? And with all the noise in your life, RRR grounds you in the context of the aftermarket. You are almost guaranteed to learn just one thing. Learning supports your purpose and brings influence to the people you touch. Now, that's a heavy thought for sure, but that's why you hang in here with me and the guests each week. Hey, I recorded this session at AVI in the spring of 2019 with a panel that includes Marty Depowski, an automotive instructor at Wayne County Community College in Michigan. David Myers is an automotive instructor at Southwestern Community College in North Carolina. And also with me is Dwayne McCarty, a technician at Martin's Garage in Fort Myers, Florida. We discussed in this episode the whys and the hows of training. Let it inspire you to make a leap to be a forever student. Now, by guiding an individual, from point A to point B and forward, it should impact his earnings because he learned more. Open your mind and get into these conversations worth hearing. Carm here at the AVI training seminar here in the spring out here in Fort Myers in Florida. I'm with Marty Depowski, automotive instructor at Wayne County Community College in Taylor, Michigan. Hey, Marty, how you doing?
Good.
Nice to have you here. And David Myers, automotive instructor at Southwestern Community College in Sylva, North Carolina.
Yes, good to be here.
Hey, thanks, David. And Dwayne McCarty, technician, Martin's Garage in Fort Myers.
Yes, it's great to be here.
Hey, man, thank you. So I was talking with Paul and John Furrow, and we said, wouldn't it be cool if we got together with some of the members that have gone through the training here today? Now, I know did they stop the class in order for us to do this? What's going on?
No, the class is over.
I think the class was over.
Right, class is over. Great. Yeah. You sat in, was it a hybrid class?
Yeah, today it was.
Today?
Yes, hybrid today, and we had AC yesterday.
And start-stop.
Start-stop from Bob, Pat, and Gail.
Yeah. Yes.
You did air
Same
conditioning from Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan Koyman. Yep. Did you learn anything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely picked up some tips here and there for sure.
As an instructor, what's it going to help you do?
It's going to help pass the information along to the students so that we're training them correctly. We do a basic hybrids course, so we're trying to pass this along to the new technicians out there.
Learn anything new?
Couple things.
Like what?
Just the difference in some of the battery technology and how the charging's affecting battery life is one of the big things.
The instructors at your schools, and both of you are here, instructors, where are you guys going to get training?
Places like this.
Okay.
We have this, and there's some local offerings in my area. I'm from the Detroit area, so there's quite a few offerings up there.
There's a lot. And so is it the supplier, manufacturer seminars that you're getting invited to?
Yeah.
And are they just reaching out to the school and says, hey, no charge, just get in here and take the class?
Well, they have it set up as a trade show where the vendors, tool vendors and software vendors will pony up for a show twice a year.
Okay. How many instructors at the college, Marty, are going to these seminars?
Probably 2 of us.
Out of how many?
Out of 4.
Okay. Well, so 50%. Yeah. That's right. Cool. Same with you, David?
Yes, we're traveling, though, to go to most of our training. I mean, we're typically 2 hours from the closest towns that have any kind of events, and everything else we're doing as online training.
Now, there's the code breaker right there. And how are you getting that? I mean, are you having to pay for it yourself? Is the college paying for it?
The college typically pays for parts of it, and then some of it we've got sponsored through local auto parts houses, and some of the vendors at times will send us codes for free information as long as we're registered with them as a instructional institute.
High fives to you guys for staying as current as you can be. You got paid to be off of school today?
Yes.
And I got paid to fly here too, so
that's great. That's a huge commitment.
It's, I mean, they see it at the school, the need, because we have constant phone calls, even in rural areas, that we're in for technicians.
Oh, I get it, because they need to fill jobs.
They need to fill the jobs.
Got it. Dwayne, you're a technician here at Martin's Garage.
Correct.
And did you get paid to come here and paid for the training?
No, I came on my own. Paul helped me with the training.
Okay.
Known Paul for years. Right. He's done a lot of different conferences around the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have parts houses that offer us training, a couple of the different ones locally. So that's not a long distance travel, but usually it's after hours.
Got it. It's usually after hours. You just brought up a wonderful thought of mine, and I know my audience knows exactly where I'm heading with this. Daytime or nighttime training?
Nighttime.
You want nighttime?
It seems to work.
What if you had a chance to go to daytime training and get paid for your time away and for the class? Would you go?
Oh, yeah.
Because?
I feel that all the technicians that are working on cars need the training to stay up to date. Otherwise, the technology of the cars are going to pass them up.
Absolutely the right answer. But during the day, guys, don't you think you'd learn a little bit more than maybe at night?
Depends on your commitment.
Ah, very good.
I've done both. Being in the dealership world for a while, we had daytime training at the dealer level. They send you to, you're there, you're paid, you go to the motel, then you're at their training facilities during the daytime.
Yeah.
Been there and done that.
Then you get back to the dealership and other new technology stuff comes on. Then they want you to stay at night to watch that stuff. And it's just hard to, after work a full day, stay there then another 4 hours at night. So I think the daytime training is much better, and it seems like you're more alert, you learn more. Even with students, when we've had night classes in the past, we found that the day students typically do better.
Yeah, they do. I'll have to agree with that. My daytime students have an easier time passing tests.
That's a great pointer. The students are having a better time passing tests because they're more alert.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
So when you go to the nighttime class,
yes,
Dwayne, you're walking in with probably something to eat to start with.
Yes, and they usually have food.
Yeah, and you know what happens when you eat food? You want to sleep.
No. Not if you've got a good instructor that keeps it lively.
See, yeah,
and depends how much you eat, too.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great answer. I loved your commitment answer before. We talked about it. This is, I think, our fourth podcast here at AVI, and we started to talk about commitment and how critical it was for the technicians today to have that personal commitment. We believe that the shop owner has to be right there next to that technician with the commitment to pay for training, to find the right training. It is the technician that has to have that commitment.
Yeah, the technician has to have the drive to want to be further educated so they can better work on a car. And in the long run, it helps them because you can make it up in the time that you save working on the car, which is what you're getting paid by.
And he's going to make more money, of course.
Yeah.
And I found out when I was working at the dealership, and I did 20 years at a import dealership in the Detroit area of all places, and I found out the more I learned, the more money I made.
That's the big takeaway right here from this episode. The more you learned, the more money you made.
Oh, of course, without a doubt.
And most dealerships, the more ASEs you have, the better they will pay you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you move up, it's typically a pay grade change every time you gain an ASE or you have more additional training going into that place to work. We found even with students taking student ASEs, they will start them at a higher pay than somebody off the street.
Yeah.
Is the objective at the schools you teach at to have a certain number of ASE certifications before they leave?
Well, our objective is for them to complete this ASE student certification in each area that they complete.
The same
Okay.
with us.
Okay.
When
Go ahead.
when I went to Votech, they encouraged us to take A1 through A8.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be a tech for 2 years before you were officially considered an ASE certified tech.
Right.
I understand. That's when I got into the business. I had the 2-year waiting period too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have so many years of doing the job.
And then the next thing past that is doing like your L1 for drivability or L2 if you want to be a diesel tech. Those will definitely open your eyes taking those tests. They're not easy. It'll make a better tech out of you because sometimes you end up taking them more than once. And depending on who's paying, depends on how well you study for it.
Sure, sure. Does your shop pay?
No.
Okay. This guy's totally in. He's paying for his own training. He's paying for his own ASEs. And that's a trend that I think is starting to reverse. Some shop owners are saying, listen, you get your ASE, I'll pay you a bonus per hour if you get it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of local shops now that are paying their guys to go take it along with paying them time to go take the ASEs now.
Yeah.
In the past, 2 or 3 years ago even, they were on their own.
Why do you think that's happening?
They need techs. They need certified techs.
And if they commit to this tech and they see that the owners put money in that person, the owner sees that, that's going to be a valuable asset if I can keep them. And if the technician sees that, they say, oh, yeah, they want to train me and keep me, and they're going to pay me more. So they're willing to stay.
And the key part of that he said was if they can keep them. And that's why some of them don't pay, because they don't feel that the tech will stay loyal to them. Once he gets an education, someone will try and hire him away from them.
That's always the question that comes up.
Oh, yeah. Always.
All the time. And it is getting to be one of the most ugly excuses to not train, because, the answer to that question is, so you don't train him and he stays. How much better is your business?
Exactly.
It's not.
It's not. It's suffering.
It is. It's suffering.
You've got to do the training. You've got to get the updates.
Yes.
There's no good excuse not to train.
When the students leave, are they geared up to want to continue to be a forever student?
Some
Depends on them. I draw from a diverse student pool. Some are really into it, some not so much, and that's kind of what we get at a community college.
So I guess my point is that when they come on in freshman, how many make it to senior?
Oh, gosh.
50%.
Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
not more than 50%.
Yeah.
And from years gone by when we were all tinkering with stuff and we came in knowing some basic commonsensical, automotive, today a lot of the kids are coming in with no knowledge at all.
There is some. Yes.
Yeah. There's some that they're like, wow, this is new to me. They don't know where to start. And
Okay.
they don't know which way to turn a ratchet.
I see. And that disenfranchises them when that basic stuff can't be accomplished?
Well, it all depends how much they want to learn. If they decide they want to learn and they decide this is something they like, they generally run with it.
It all goes back to commitment.
Yeah. And I've seen students that don't make it 2 weeks. They see this is going to be over their potential they think they can do, and they walk.
In the podcast opening, I mentioned Apex. Now, let's quickly clarify. Apex is not the same as the SEMA show, and I think you know that. Although both are held in the same week in Las Vegas, at the SEMA show, you'll see cool specialty products, and I get it. I've been there. Wow, tons of fun. But if your livelihood is keeping your customers' vehicles on the road, and that's how you earn your living, then you have to attend Apex, because Apex is the business side of the aftermarket. Now, Apex is where you can see, feel, touch, and talk the business of the aftermarket. Everything you need is under one roof, including new tools and equipment, advanced training, hands-on demos, and one-on-one meetings with your suppliers and manufacturers, needless to mention the networking you have with your peers. And with your Apex badge, you can also visit the SEMA show. One badge does it all. So plan now to attend Apex, Tuesday, November 5th through Thursday, November 7th at the Sands Expo in Las Vegas. Hey, to learn all about Apex and plan your visit to Industry Week, visit aapexshow.com. What got him to come in to start with? What do you think?
Honestly, you have a lot of your mom and dad told you have to go to school
For something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you have that a lot still today.
Well, what I've seen a lot of students, they come into the program and they don't like to listen to the lecture. They expect they're going to go in and work. You know, sometimes mistakes are made by instructional staff. They spend way too much time telling them how to fix cars without actually doing it. And in order for us to retain students, you know, part of our job is being entertainers also. If you're a teacher, you have to keep them occupied. You have to keep them engaged. You have to make sure they want to stay doing this.
Oh, I agree. You have to really get them involved and get them involved in projects all the time.
Yeah, you have to line stuff up. You just have to keep them involved or you'll lose them quickly.
How many are passing labs?
More pass the labs than will pass the class.
Right.
The theory.
Yeah.
But the hands-on is important because it occupies their mind with the coordination with their hands.
Yep, I agree.
You are wise beyond your years.
Most, if not all of our students are visual learners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can't sit there and look at stuff out of the book. For example, they see the 4-stroke cycle in the book. That means nothing to them.
Mm-mm.
But if they see it on an engine taken apart in the lab, they can figure it out.
Do you guys have AOS or AAS degrees?
AAS.
AAS.
So what's the challenge for the English, science, and math part?
For the dedicated student, they get through it. They will do it. I mean, if they're dedicated, they want to get their degree, they want to be this is their career, they like cars, they want to get out there, they will do it.
We're an open door institution, so anybody can come in and they take a test and they get placed, and then they have levels of the other classes, of the gen ed classes. They have remedial levels for some of our students that need it too, so we're well equipped for them.
Yeah, we have the same thing in North Carolina. So, I mean, they have placement tests. They come in from high school. And if they do well in high school, a lot of them come in and they go straight into the college English at the level they only need 1 or 2 classes to pick up. Sometimes.
It doesn't hold them back. It doesn't hold them back. It says, listen, I'm loving this automotive, but I don't want to go to English.
Well,
Is that a reason for some of the dropouts in the first year?
Yeah,
Yes.
They don't like the gen ed classes, but, you know, I can speak for my program. They're only required 2 English classes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have some of them that's why they drop the degree and go back to certificate only.
Got it. Dwayne, take us to your shop. Do you have any young college grads working in there?
No.
Okay.
No, we have a tech was hired as an alignment tech, but he does a lot of other duties other than that.
All right.
And then they have some tire techs and oil changers in the front. And the boss has his son working there.
Okay.
But he's not really an automotive tech, I would say.
Are you responsible as a mentor to him to make him an automotive tech?
No, we're all pretty much independent.
Okay. So are you the senior most member?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, other than the owner.
Other than the owner. Yeah. And let me ask you a really tough question. Do you have a plan to retire ever someday?
When I get tired of working on cars.
Okay.
But I've worked on them since I was probably 16. I'm 62 in June.
God, it looks pretty good for 62, huh?
And I've worked on anything from a 1940s car to current.
Wow. So you have the commitment. You paid your way here. You went to some phenomenal training. What are you taking home with you?
The ASE class had a lot of good information in it, even though I've been doing ASE for quite a few years.
So what was the aha moment there?
Just some of the different ways of doing what we're already doing, just doing it better to make the jobs last on the customer's car.
Okay.
So it's less expense for the customer.
More efficient for you too?
More efficient for us.
Yeah, yeah.
Less comebacks is the big thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
Isn't that amazing?
You don't get paid for comebacks.
Always. If shops are tracking comebacks and they spread it out and they find the area of concern, they're going to figure what their training schedule is for the next year, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
If they would do that, yes.
If you go into a dealership, they track it.
They do
constantly.
Yeah. And top shops are doing that because they really have that commitment. Stop Start. You went to Stop Start with Bob Pattengale. What'd you take away from that?
I've dealt with the Stop Start. There's a lot of good technology there with a lot of good training, especially with Bob. He's a great trainer.
Yeah.
Usually he's right on the money with everything that he's telling you. I've never been to one of his classes where he gave me any misinformation, and it's just always top of the line stuff from him.
And the hybrid class?
The hybrid class was a little bit of a review for me, but I don't work much on hybrids. But there's a lot of good information there for people that do work on hybrids. We had the green bullets at the end of the class, which was very good. That's stuff you're not going to get just anywhere.
You mean in place of silver bullets, they're green bullets?
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
By John Foro.
We had John here in the noon Town Hall Academy that we did live. Great show. Guys, if you had a chance to tell anyone in the industry, anything about your career and your commitment and training as instructors, and then, of course, as a technician, what would you want to tell them? Is this a worthy career to be in?
This industry's been very good to me personally. I wrenched for 20 years. Then I was at the Ford hotline for a while. Then I got into education.
How did you move into education? That's so interesting.
And I started teaching high school. College is much easier.
Explain that one.
Half of the job as a high school auto shop teacher is keeping them safe.
And
the other half is teaching them about cars.
And college doesn't?
Well, you don't have to worry so much about it because the high school kids are looking for trouble. That's what they're there for.
Aha. Maturity.
Yes.
Level.
Yeah. And it's everything about that. And it changes drastically from secondary to post-secondary.
Great point. I just learned something new.
We have kind of a similar thing, except for we have dual enrollment. We have high school students that come into the college program and come into our classes from the local high school.
Right.
Those students that typically come, you'll have one or two that's hunting a place to get away from high school.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll have a handful of them. They're wanting to get started in a career to make money, and they're very committed. I've had some of my high school classes be some of the best that we've had during the semester.
Do any of your students come up to you and say, this is like way beyond something I ever thought about, the high tech, the computer code, the sensors? Are they
all the time?
And are they impressed and they want to be in it and stay in it?
Yeah.
Constantly. The technology now, because students have grown up on the iPads and with the phones in their hand, if you show them the scan tools and everything that's involved that they're going to be looking at, they get interested really quick in it.
Do you have enough money in your capital budget to stay ahead with tools and technology?
Oh, yeah.
We've done really well. I mean, with grants and stuff, along with the budget, normal budget, we've done well.
Okay.
Yeah, so have we.
A message to the independent shops out there to get involved with your advisory boards. Do you got anything to say to them?
Really, they need to get involved because we just finished an accreditation process with NATEF. There's a lot of times you can't get the guys to come in from these other shops around town, but then you have the guys in the shops that are committed, and they're the ones that send their guys for training. They're the ones that's getting ASEs. They're the ones they see why when they come to the school. And they see what's involved with the technology updates, because a lot of times some of the shops there locally, we've got more technology at the school by far compared to what they have in the industry. If you can get them in there to see this.
That's interesting, David. Are you in a really small town?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the difference.
Yeah. It's a small town, rural area. So a lot of small shops. They may not even have a scan tool. They may have a code reader. That's all they're using.
See, we don't have real big problem getting people to attend the advisory meetings because, we literally have the auto industry in our backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And not only do I get representatives from independent shops, we have a lot of vehicle development in southeastern Michigan. So
I betcha. Oh, that's a hotbed of tech.
Yeah, he's in a good place up there.
That's also another avenue for techs for their career.
Wow.
I did training for OTC on their scan tools.
Oh, you were a trainer?
I was the trainer for them, yes, in Florida only.
All right.
I visited a Votech on the other coast of Florida, and they had an automotive department in there, and they were doing auto repair with the technicians that were in the class. So they were profiting from the auto repair to put that money back into their automotive curriculum.
Oh, interesting. So the school was having a charge for training?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. I've never heard of that.
They were working on customer cars, people at the school's cars, and I thought it was a very good project that they had there because they had a pretty good-sized shop. Mm-hmm. And the instructor, I'm sure he was very busy with all that he had to do to keep the students learning on what all they were doing, with them being at somewhat different levels of knowledge, because you find that in this line of work that they all have different abilities.
Yeah, I agree with that. You'll have 15 students. You may have 3 that can excel at anything you put them on, no matter what it is. And then you'll have the next 4 or 5 students after that you can put them on a lot of projects with some stuff they could never touch. And then you've got a handful of them that they're kind of watching, and they're still thinking about this industry, I think.
Sometimes it's a juggling act, keeping all of your students involved, actively involved in something. And as an instructor, you have to make sure that they don't get into trouble with what they're doing, because some of them have more ability than others.
You don't want them to go down the wrong rabbit hole, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to match the task with the ability.
But is it important to have them go partway down the rabbit hole so that they can learn from that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's part of it. That goes with their ability.
But you want to be able to pull them back at the right time.
Right, yeah.
You got to catch them and stop them and tell them, did you read that in the repair manual?
And so how many are in the lab? Because you're watching them do this stuff. How many do you have?
Typically, average is around 15 students at a time.
That's a lot.
I have about 10.
Okay. Do you pair them up?
Typically groups.
Okay.
2 to
Yeah.
3 to a group most all the time.
Yeah, I'll assign some to a group in a toolbox.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
it depends on the class at the time, who's in the class, and sometimes I let them pick their own groups because they have their friends and they like working with their friends.
Yeah. I think one of the beauties of this interview was you dealership, then you did a Ford hotline, and an instructor. A little bit about your background again, David?
So my dad owned a service station when I was young.
Yeah.
So I grew up in repair. I mean,
after school, report to work.
yes,
Yeah.
pretty much. After school, go to work, piddle with this, help with this, pump gas in that car, whatever, was going on. And went from there through high school, went to work in, the quick oil change places, stuff like that. Went to school at the same time, got my associate degree, went back out to a dealership co-oping, ended up in the dealerships and moved from 2 or 3 dealerships around into GM, spent several years in GM dealerships, and found that I was teaching a lot of guys stuff while I was working.
Mm-hmm.
The local college where I'm back at now had asked me about teaching night classes. I started teaching some night classes, got more involved with it, seen that, this is a good side to be on because I can share this information that I have. Got offers to come to work full time in the school training area. Ended up back at the college and now a coordinator, and then I have the college there locally, and then I oversee 2 other high schools.
One of the things that I think our industry has to wake up to, maybe that's the wrong word, but they have to realize, is that our careers can go in many different places. And, here it is, an OTC trainer, a technician who did you moonlight as an OTC trainer?
Yes.
Yeah, you see,
Daytime technician, moonlight as a
perfect
schedule trainer.
There's so many opportunities, and sometimes we fail to remember where our humble beginnings were and where we could go.
Being that type of trainer, when I walked into a shop to train somebody, you have to be able to figure out what their skill level is.
Sure.
When you walk in, so that you can give them the information they need to
What
use
they really
that
need.
tool to help them the most. And I even did a class for a Spanish guy. His daughter came home from school and she was probably like 9 or 10. I had to dummy the class down so that she could translate to her father because he only spoke Spanish. And then went and did hands-on with him and her. He was like, "Can you stay for supper?" And I was like, "No," because I'd been on the road for 2 days,
Oh, wow.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I so enjoyed this, guys. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here. Marty Depowski from Wayne County Community College in Taylor, Michigan. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
David Myers, Automotive Instructor, Southwestern Community College, Silva, North Carolina.
Thank you.
I could tell from your southern thing.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Good stories. And Dwayne McCarty, technician in Martin's Garage right here in Fort Myers. Good to have you here. Great story. 62 and going strong and committed like no tomorrow.
I've worked in the dealerships much like they did.
Okay.
There was one part they left out there is the politics that you have to deal with in the
it's
dealerships.
always there.
I teach politics, dealership politics in my classes.
Yes.
In shop management class, we cover it.
That can be difficult, and it can deter, I think, technicians that we have out there.
Is it like bullying?
From the manufacturers and sometimes the shop foremans and
Or
the other techs.
Service director or service manager.
There's
The
a
best
handful.
thing I could do is share true life stories that actually happened. And being there 20 years, I think I've seen just about everything.
Got it. I've heard some stories. Guys, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time,